guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm quite excited. I'm here to do something that I haven't done for quite a long time. So I'm here to do a launch of, it's not actually a new kit, but it's a kit that I haven't really kind of showcased before. So it's been on my Etsy shop for quite a long time. I have now put it onto my website as well. It's slightly cheaper on my website, so you know, you might be able to grab yourself a bargain. Obviously I can offer it slightly cheaper on there because I don't pay the fees that I pay on Etsy. So you know, do go over to shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk if you want to get it a little bit cheaper. The only difference is it's going to come in one great big zip file, so all of your files are going to be contained within that zip file. Whereas Etsy, obviously there's like a file size limit that's, you know, got a bit more restrictions on it. So yeah, that's kind of the details. Now it is a huge kit. It's 54 pages and it's my Junk Journal Basics Kit 2. I did a first one. I will try and remember to link that video maybe like at the end on the end screen, you know, with the little thing. With the Junk Journal Basics Kit 1. And the idea is that the whole kit is going to create every single thing that you would need. You know, if you were just starting out in junk journaling, it's got everything that you could need, you know, without having to go to the shops and buy any kind of other supplies, you know, book page or, you know, anything else. It's going to have kind of a bit of everything. So maybe like some photographs, maybe some sheet music-y type pages, you know, anything that you kind of might need. Hopefully you're going to have all contained within the kit. So without, droning on too much, I'm going to move all this lace that I just like to put here as a little bundle because I think it just looks so pretty when it's layered up on the papers. And then what we're going to do, once I've shown you the kit, I'm going to attempt to make a folio with you guys. Now, I haven't made a folio for absolutely ages, so I've got to confess I'm feeling slightly nervous about that. So hopefully, you know, this revisit, it's going to be not necessarily a learning process, but certainly a refresher for me. And, you know, hopefully we're all going to kind of come along and do it together. So I'm going to show you what you get in the kit. Like I say, it's a huge kit. It's 54 pages. So what you've got is you've got a selection of background pages and you've got these lovely patterned background pages. I'm just going to kind of like whiz you through quite quickly because I'm hoping that we're going to have time obviously to do, you know, a bit of a craft along to get started on our folio. So I'm just going to go through these as quick as I possibly can. And hopefully as well, the idea is that, you know, if you mix these pages kind of in different ways, you're going to get very different looks. So with this one kit, you would hopefully be able to create, you know, maybe like 5 different journals or 5 different projects, and they would all look completely different because obviously if you put the papers together in a different way, they're going to produce completely different kind of, you know, appearance kind of your finished project. So that's the plan. You know, you've got these ones here with the blues and the gold type colours. You could mix those, not putting any, you know, any pink kind of pages, and you would create a very different look to if you created something with predominantly the pink pages. There's some which are quite sort of texty or browns, you know, things like that. You could create those. Or, of course, you can mix all of them together and have a completely different look again. So, you know, I think although it's not obviously as cheap as much, you know, the much smaller kits, I think you would be able to create a whole bunch of different projects with this. And so, you know, it would provide quite good value for money because you'd get many different looking projects from this one kit. So that's the idea behind it. And of course, like I say, you know, for anybody starting out in junk journaling, it's everything that you need. So, you know, it saves you kind of trawling around trying to find some vintage, you know, tickets and vintage, I don't know, photographs and things like that. Hopefully it's got kind of a bit of everything that you might want to incorporate in your journals. I love this page. This is probably my favourite page in the whole of the background pages. I don't know why, but something just really stands out to me. This is also very pretty. So that's that page. Now this goes on to more the texty, would I call it texty part, you know, kind of less decorative papers but more kind of like sheet music and, you know, that kind of thing. So this is what I was talking about. You could make something obviously, you know, featuring these types of papers without the florally type papers, and you're going to get a very, very different look for your project. Now, I've printed all of these on a combination. So some of these I've printed on this, which is 230 GSM, and it's photo paper, so, you know, photographic paper. And some I've printed on 120 GSM, which is much more, you know, similar to copy paper. So yeah, that's the kind of varieties. And again, I've done that so that I've got a bunch of different things to be able to kind of, you know, cover a folio and maybe have some foldy parts and things. So this is on the 120 GSM, so much thinner, but, you know, still prints out really, really lovely on there. These ones here. Okie dokie. We'll just quickly finish with the decorative papers. I mean, as you can probably see, you know, there's a whole huge variety of papers. So, you know, again, they'd be very good for collage. You've got, you know, things like that. If you wanted to do some collage masterboards, hopefully between everything here, you could produce some really nice collage masterboards and things as well. So, you know, if you didn't have kind of a huge variety of papers, you'd be able to kind of just pull these in and then create some lovely masterboards. And again, very differing looks in them. You then get a lot of different journal cards and things like that. So you get these, which are the, oh gosh, what do you call these? Like the vintage advertising type cards, or trade cards, they might be referred to as. So lots of those in these gorgeous colours. You've got journal cards. And again, you could cut these with the border going around with the decorative edge, or you could cut them without. So, you know, again, producing kind of different looks. You've got lots of different labels. So these labels here, and then you've got these ones here. Very, very pretty. Got these labels. So, you know, who doesn't love a label? And then you've got a couple of pages of tags. So again, obviously decorated or decorative tags, and then you've got a couple of plain ones so you can, you know, add your own decoration to them. And then the same here, you've got decorative tags, and then here where you could add your own decoration. You've got a page of tickets here. So again, you know, you've got sort of some pinks, you've got browns, blues. You really can kind of, you know, make your own things and, you know, create them and alter them as you fancy. You've got this whole bunch of word labels. So love this page. Really, really fun. And again, you know, you could use these in a whole different variety of ways. And of course, you know, not just with these kits or this kit, you know, it's all going to kind of overlap. You've got this lovely page of butterflies. Oh my goodness, don't you love the vibrant colours on here? So, so gorgeous. So, you know, again, trying to kind of feature, like, if you didn't have supplies, you've got your butterflies here, you've got your word labels, you know, all of those kinds of things. And then we've got a couple of pages of florals or flowers. So we've got these beautiful pink roses, and then this beautiful, I don't know whether that's a rose, to be honest. I don't think it is. I don't like to show my ignorance and say what I think it might be. Well, I've no clue what type of flower that is, but anyway. So again, some really pretty florals. And then you've got this page with, again, more kind of like vintage advertisement cards and, you know, a couple of little ovals there. You've got this page with some frames and things. So again, you know, for building up, if you're making your own pockets and things like that, you've got lots of decorative elements here that you can use. You've got these and these, which I love, these kind of frame journal cards, because again, you could cut them out and use them as a journal card, or of course you could cut the actual frame out and then you've got more decorative elements. So I mean, you really have got a lot of different things you can do with this kit, and, you know, really have a lot of fun with it. And then you've got this page, or these two pages, sorry, of all these vintage images here of these ladies. So again, some really, really beautiful images here. And to be honest, I do very often use these. I've used them in things like when we've made toppers and things like that. They're very, very handy images to have. More journal cards. Again, these ones with a sort of blue theme. So again, if you were just going for a sort of blue and sort of gold coloured journal, you could obviously use these. If you wanted to obviously incorporate some pinks and things, you've got these ones here. And then you've got a couple of envelopes. So, you know, if you didn't have envelopes and things like that, you've got these here that you can obviously then use. Bunch of frames down the side there. So again, you know, I love all these kinds of elements. They're brilliant for clusters. They're brilliant for, you know, when you're making kind of pockets and things like that. They're just brilliant for decorating. So, you know, always really good things to have. And then you've got a whole section of labels. Now, this is printed on thinner paper. But again, lots and lots of labels there. And then you've got those images all printed on smaller size. So if you were thinking, oh, you know, they're a bit ginormous for me because I make smaller things, you then get them all on a smaller scale. So kind of like 2 to a page. And you could then obviously print those out and use those. So that's your 54 pages. Huge, huge, huge kit. And like I say, just, you know, really, really, really pretty and fun. Just going to move this out of the way. Obviously, it's very, very different colours to the first Junk Journal Basics kit that I did, which was very, very, very bright. So I've intentionally done this one a lot more muted, and, you know, hopefully it will kind of bring something very different to the previous kind of edition of the Junk Journal Basics, you know, style kit. So to make our folio, like I say, it's a long time since I've made one, so I'm feeling very, very nervous. But what I've brought along, I've got a whole bunch of different envelopes, so different sizes, and, you know, obviously, as you can see, different colours as well. So I've got some white ones, and I've got some craft coloured ones, or, you know, this buff coloured kind of envelope, which I absolutely love. So it's going to be a bit nerve-wracking for me because, yeah, I'm just hoping that I'm going to be able to pull something together. So I'm going to just quickly grab a drink, and then we're going to attempt to make the first part of the folio. So, okay, I'm back. So, as I say, it's been a long time since I've made a folio, so I'm feeling very nervous, but hopefully we're going to, you know, manage to pull this off. So I'm going to start. I've got these envelopes. They are, well, they're not really A5. They're bigger than A5 envelopes. But yeah, I've had them in my stash for a long time, and I would ordinarily probably start with like maybe an A4 envelope and just fold it in half. But for this one, I thought, well, we might as well just use these, to be honest. And I think what I'm going to do is just kind of tuck the flaps in here to get my, you know, my folio started. Wrap that there. And that's going to be my, you know, my base piece for my folio. Now, I have to say, these envelopes are not that thick. They're, you know, they're a little bit on the flimsy side, which is not really ideal. You know, envelopes just come in different sort of, you know, differing qualities, don't they? And yeah, these, I've got to be honest, they're not the best. But hopefully by the time we've lined them with the papers and things like that, you know, they're going to obviously, you know, toughen up once they've been sort of double lined and things like that. So just going to tuck this in. Always have a bit of a struggle with this. This is a little bit of a fiddly operation, I find, trying to put the envelopes in together. There we go. Like that. It's, I find, seems to just suddenly hit a point where it's like, oh, it's suddenly done. You know, you're kind of like struggling and struggling to slot it in, and then just suddenly, before you know it, it's like, oh, it's suddenly gone in. So I'm going to now stick this flap down. Or actually, just before I do, I just want to check, because I'm thinking, could we, not that one, because I've already stuck that down. Let me just grab another one from beside me. I'm wondering if we could have another one here. So we have like a sort of 3-page folio. No, that's not going to work. And I'll tell you the reason why that won't work is because if we have it like that, and then we have like foldy flaps here, it's going to end up, you know, like that by the end. And it's not going to kind of sit snugly. So no, I'm not going to do that. I just suddenly, you know, before I glued that back flap down, I wanted to check that I didn't think that that would, you know, be a better kind of way to do it, but no. And I think that's the problem with folios. You can quite easily kind of go off the wrong track, and then they don't sort of fold quite right. You know, they're okay, but they don't fold as comfortably as they could if you'd have, you know, done them in a different way. So they're just something to be a little bit careful when you're making them. And, you know, I'm saying this from, you know, past mistakes and past kind of learning experiences that I've had, where I have kind of maybe, you know, not done them in the best way. So that's my folio there. Now, or that's the start of my folio anyway. So what I could do is now obviously put this to create another, you know, another fold around like that. So what I might do, just thinking, now, do I want to glue this down and actually just cover all of this with some paper? So if I just pull in some of the decorative paper portions. Now, I don't know, not sure yet. I haven't really given this much thought of how I want to do this, whether I want to incorporate all of the shades, whether I want to go for like more of a, you know, 1 or 2 colour pieces. I'm not sure. So what I'm wondering, do I want to kind of like go over and cover the whole thing with some of the paper, which would be fine, and then obviously add pockets and flaps and things like that? Or do we want to do, you know, like the crafty cat envelopes? And I haven't done one of those for a long time, but basically what you would do is just put something a bit thicker. So this is one of the ones that's printed on the thicker paper here, and then cut this envelope down, and that creates like a pocket in here. No, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, I had to talk that through, because until I did, I wasn't quite sure whether that would actually work or not. And yeah, now I've kind of looked at that. No, that's not going to work. So from that perspective, I'm going to glue my envelope down here. Oops. And then I'm going to cover this with paper. So, and again, all of these things, they're all going to help to strengthen my envelope. So if, like me, you're working with envelopes that aren't really, you know, that strong, these types of things, they're all going to help to reinforce and strengthen your envelope. Okay, doesn't matter if I've got glue anywhere or everywhere, as the case may be, because it's going to obviously all be covered up anyway. So we're going to put it like that. Now I'm going to cover this first on this side, I think, and I'm going to line this envelope, because like I said, these are sort of thinner, so I want to line it so it's a bit stronger when it's kind of being opened and folded out. So let's have a look and see what papers do we want to line this with. Now luckily a lot of this decorative paper is actually you know, printed on the thinner paper. So I can't decide. I might use some of this. So I might use some of this. Now I'm thinking maybe just go straight over the whole of that middle section with this. Just have a look. I think there is a sheet of this that's without any other pattern. Oh, there we go. So yeah, let's get our sheet here, and all I'm going to do is literally cover the whole thing. So I'm going to just put it up there, and then I'm just going to take this down, hopefully get it more or less the right size. Oops. Like that. Okay, now I'm just going to be really shoddy and just tear that rather than cut it. Okay. Now the reason why I'm doing one complete sheet in the middle is because obviously I've got like what I would call vulnerable spots here. So I've got obviously these bits here, you know, which have been glued down. So I want to cover those up just in case they're not fully glued down anywhere. This obviously is a very vulnerable spot because, you know, this was where the fold is. So again, what I want to do is make sure, like, I don't want to have 2 sheets of paper joining in the middle, because then I've left my vulnerable spot, because obviously the piece that's going to be moving most is the fold. So to cover the whole fold up with one sheet is just kind of like yeah, like a safety precaution, I suppose. So going around the whole thing on the edge. I'm using 3-in-1 glue because that's what I have got at the moment. I'm having a few problems getting the Anita's tacky glue. It's really, really expensive, and in the past I've kind of bought it in bulk and I can't seem to get hold of it anywhere now, and that's, you know, that's the glue that I would generally choose for paper projects. But yeah, I ordered some the other day from what I thought was, you know, somewhere that sold it in bulk, and then I got a phone call a couple of hours later saying no, they didn't have it after all and it wasn't in stock. So, you know, did I want them to cancel the order or order an alternative glue? So I didn't want to do that because they didn't really have anything, you know, it was kind of glue sticks or glue that I hadn't tried before and things. So I had to cancel that order. So that was really a shame. Okay. So there we go. Now, obviously, I'm kind of like focusing a lot on that crease because I want to make sure that that's really nice and durable. And again, I'm just going to fold it now whilst it's still wet, just to make sure that my crease is actually, you know, working like that. Okay. So that looks really pretty, doesn't it? I love these colours, and they're going to look just awesome once we've inked all of this up. Now, I haven't coffee dyed any of this. You know, just, yeah, just I didn't get time to do that. And yeah, I haven't coffee dyed any of it. But I don't think that's going to matter because I think by the end it's going to look, you know, really nice and kind of vintage anyway. So I think it's all going to look fine. Obviously, any pieces that are going to, you know, see the back of, I will coffee dye. You know, if we have any kind of flaps and things, then I will coffee dye those on the backs at least. So there we go. Right, I'm going to then just quickly cover the edges. I mean, that's debatable whether you kind of need to, really, because obviously the edges are probably going to be covered up with pockets and things like that anyway, but I'll just, you know, just cover them, you know, just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to just tear this down, like the torn edges, like that, and then I can just put the whole thing over there. And I like the fact it's got that torn edge look. So again, just going to then fold this up here and just then, oops, take that down. I mean, instantly I just think, wow, doesn't this look really pretty already? So okay, might just go down this way because for some reason this paper, it separates out a lot, if you know what I mean. So you get a big section that's just like the core of the paper. So I'll just kind of take that out. There we go. I really, really went through a phase of loving doing folios and making folios, and I don't know why, but yeah, I just kind of got out of it, and oh, it's really annoying. I loved doing them. I don't know why I didn't keep up, because actually I kind of then was getting to grips with them much better. And now, of course, I haven't made one for, you know, maybe even like, I don't know, maybe a year. Maybe the last one I made was the Build Your Own Folio that I did the series of and sold the kits. That might have been the last folio I did, and now I've kind of lost my confidence a little bit. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be, you know, doing one again, because I was, you know, coming to the point, like I say, where I was so enjoying making them. And it's just really gutting, isn't it, when you sort of stop and then, you know, you lose a bit of confidence, don't you? So then this side, I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to just tear it down here, trying to get less of, see what I mean, the core of the paper. So like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Put that there. Again, just fold it down so I can tear that part off. Oops. Oh, I just dropped all the paper on the floor. That's a wally. Right. There we go. I think I've made folios in, you know, different ways. So I think sometimes I've, you know, put the decorative papers on first, and sometimes I've done the whole folio, assembled it, and then put the, excuse me, decorative papers on afterwards. And either is fine. I think sometimes it's easier to put the papers on as you go to some extent. You know, not necessarily all of it, but to, you know, for some of it, because obviously you can get to all the bits that otherwise you might sort of stick a pocket down and then think, oh, you know, my paper's now not going to be like nicely coming out from under the pocket. So, you know, it's just personal choice really, but you can do it either way really. And to be honest, you might want to vary it from folio to folio, because what works one time, you know, might not necessarily work best in another folio that you're making. So that's another thing to kind of bear in mind. Just going to glue this down here in this corner, because I could see I hadn't really taken the glue up to the corner. Right, there we go. I mean, doesn't that look so pretty? Love those colours, absolutely gorgeous. Right, oops, I can just see some glue here. Oh my goodness, loads of glue there. Don't know what was going on there. Anyway, hopefully it will be covered up with some pockets anyway, so just going to rub that off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to line this envelope. Let me just pick up my papers that I just dropped on the floor. Oh, there we go. Right, okay, so what paper should we go for in there? Thinking it's a bit annoying because these papers are the envelopes, they're actually a little bit bigger, like I say, than A5, and so, you know, the paper doesn't kind of fit really landscape, which is a shame because that would have been really good. Right, now I'm thinking, could I have this paper here? Oh, it's such a shame because I don't want to go into that frame, which is silly because, again, could just print some more out. I don't know why I'm now trying to be ridiculous and sort of hang on to it, but perhaps I'll do it this one. This was that one that I said was my favourite sheet, isn't it? Was it? No, I don't think it was actually. Oh, I can't even remember, you see, because there's such a lot of paper in here. I can't remember now what's what. Oh, that's my favourite sheet. I've just spotted it. Oh, that's on a, yeah, that's on a thick piece of paper, which I probably wouldn't really use, although, well, I mean, that would kind of like significantly strengthen it, I suppose. Maybe that would be a good one to use. Oh, I don't know. Right, I must just make a decision, and I must just then think, do you know what? I can always print more. So yeah, stop being ridiculous. Can always print some more pages, can't I? It's because at the moment I've run out of ink and I'm waiting for some more ink. So I'm feeling like, oh, I don't want to use things, you know, because if my ink doesn't arrive today or tomorrow, it's just going to kind of hold up, you know, being able to continue if I'm, you know, wanting to print something specifically. Right. Probably now I've got to trim this down a bit just to make sure it fits nicely into the envelope. So, but I still find it easier, I know I've said this loads of times, I still find it easier to cut alongside that torn edge than just, you know, cut from nowhere. So yeah, just pop that into there. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to glue this down like this. It's to strengthen, obviously, my envelope. So I'm going to pop some glue here. And then I think from there, it's easiest to put the glue on the actual envelope flap. okay, because otherwise I would have put the glue all over the paper and then find that actually, you know, we didn't really need all that glue because the envelope flap is obviously triangular. So yeah, right, so put that down there. Let me just move this over a bit. Oops, move it out of the way. Okay, so like I said, we're just lining this to reinforce it so it's, you know, so it's nice and strong and not, you know, really flimsy. So again, turn it over, reinforce it from the back like that. Okay, then again, just take your fold and make sure that, you know, that's not sort of compromised like that. Okay. Right, looking good so far. Okie dokie. Right, now at this point, I'm going to again just glue this down like we did on the other one. Like that. Okay. Oops. Like that. Okay. Oops. Just check that I haven't mucked it up now. Okay, got lots of glue all over here. That's fine because it will all be covered up anyway, so that's all fine. Right, okay, so this obviously is going to glue into here or onto here, so like that. Now at this point, again, I could cover this before gluing it down. Just wondering, yeah, I might do that, to be honest. So I might cover the back of it before actually gluing it on, because again, it's just going to be a bit easier to do it this way. So I'm going to take, I think, some of the more texty type pages here. Oops. Oh, I did still have more decorative pages under there, which I haven't remembered. Okay, right, okay, let's take some of this, maybe this one, oh, or maybe this, yeah, okay, so I'm going to just put this down here, like that, okay, right, so again, just kind of line this up, and just tear that down. Yeah, I think the torn edges are quite nice, to be honest, because they almost add like a bit of texture, really. So they're sort of quite fun to use. I'm keeping all my little bits because, again, you know, we might make something with the scraps. We might, you know, we might not, but yeah, we might do. So I'll just keep them all. I'm going to flip that way around. Okay. So again, just go around, oops, around the edges. Really, you know, fill in the middle. You just want your pieces to be really nicely glued down, don't you? Not peeling up. And then again, concentrate here where the crease of the envelope is, just because that's, you know, that's obviously a vulnerable point, so it's good to, you know, put some extra glue on there, really. Right, let's just check. It's overlapping slightly. Push that in like that. Okay, so again, spread your glue out. Oops, get my wipe. I mean, to be honest, these folios, this is the time-consuming part, is the, you know, the actual skeleton of your folio. Once you've done the skeleton and you've, you know, you've lined it, you've assembled it, the rest of it is, you know, pretty fun and pretty kind of quick and easy, really, to get, you know, to come together. But yeah, you've got to kind of like get the basic ready, or the base ready first. You know, and that just, it's worth taking a little bit of time on, because that's how your whole thing's going to kind of hang together. So, oops, you want to kind of make it as strong as you possibly can, I think. So, right, let's move this out of the way. Okay, oh my goodness, I've just spotted some lace, which, oh, I think this is going to go really nicely with this, to be honest. Yeah, that's going to look good with that, isn't it? Right. Oh, what have I done with my other piece? Is this the other bit of the folio? No, it wasn't. Oh, what have I done with it? I've actually lost now. Lost the folio. I mean, how on earth has that happened? Put it up here, obviously. What? What have I done with it? I've actually lost the whole thing that we've been making. I mean, what on earth? Oh my goodness. I've never seen anyone else doing this, where the actual thing that they're showing how to make, they put it down and then they lose it. I mean, where could that have possibly gone? Oh, I'm sure that lots of you are watching and saying, it's there, you put it, you know, wherever it was I put it. Why on earth I can't see it anywhere is beyond me. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Right, I'm going to have to stop the camera now while I search for the rest of the folio, the piece that we have made. I think it is still in here in amongst the papers, but yeah, hold on. Right, I found it. It was in amongst the papers, but it was open like this. So of course it was just blending in with the papers. So, you know, I couldn't see it. So yeah, water Wally. Right, okay, so this is going to go here as like another flap. Or of course we could have it folded this way. Whoops. So then we have a what do you call this? More like a bit of an accordion fold, I think. But I think I'm going to have it, yeah, I think I'm going to have it this way. So before I actually glue this, you know, this part on, what I think is quite nice sometimes to do is have like some envelope flaps coming out from underneath there, if that makes sense. So I've just got this here. This is a small envelope. I've got some other 5x7 envelopes as well. So what I might do is have two here like that, and they'll go in there, and then obviously glue this over. And so then straight away I've got two quite nice, you know, little flaps there. Yeah, I think that's quite nice. I might stagger these, so I might have one up and one, you know, one lower, because I think that's quite nice to do as well. So again, what I'm going to do is just line these envelopes. And I know this is all very, you know, very boring, and, you know, sometimes seems kind of unnecessary, and you think, oh, you know, do I need to do that? Like I say, it's not essential, but I think it is a good, like, safety precaution for just toughening up your pieces. Because I mean, obviously, if you're going to be opening and closing this, you're putting a lot of stress onto, you know, the fold of your envelope. So what you want to do is kind of obviously try and reinforce that as much as you possibly can. So just by lining it very simply with the paper, you are essentially doing that. So again, just pop this down. Bit of glue on the bit that's going on the inside. Plenty of glue then along the fold and along the flap itself. So like that. Okay. Oops. Like that. Okay, pop that in. Like that. Okay. Spread your glue. Looking good, looking good. Oops. Right, mop the table up. Just then a little bit of glue there. Again, then check that, you know, you can still fold it nice and easily. Like that. Okay, so that's going to tuck in, and I just want to do exactly the same here and just reinforce the other, oops, other envelope. I'm just digging around getting some more. So I'm going to just use this, which is like the sheet music kind of page. So yeah, I can just go, I'll do it this way. To be honest, I probably don't need to do that much. I can just go like that. Oops. Just go like that. Again, just tearing it down. That's just nice and quick and easy. Like that. And then just, again, measure this against the envelope. Take it down. Like that. Oh, do you know, I'm having such a lot of fun already. Yeah, kind of like, yeah, feeling really, you know, I was feeling really nervous, like I say, thinking, oh gosh, I haven't made a folio for ages, you know, but actually I'm really enjoying myself so far. So if you're following along, if you're making a folio with me, I really hope that you're enjoying yourself and, you know, you're having a lot of fun as well. And, you know, share below in the comments, you know, are you using, you know, this same kit as me, or are you using something else? You know, have you made a folio before? Perhaps like me, you've made, you know, folios before but haven't made one for a long time. How were you feeling? Were you feeling slightly daunted and, you know, thinking, oh gosh, you know, oh look, I forgot. And yeah, I forgot that I didn't have the full width of the flap, so just cut that off where that glue was. Yeah, were you feeling a bit like me and thinking, oh my goodness, you know, I haven't made one for a while, I'm feeling a bit nervous about this? If that's the case, are you feeling now a little bit more confident and kind of thinking, oh, I'm getting in the swing of it and I'm enjoying myself? Okay, right. So again, fold your flap, make sure you've not sort of, you know, compromised the fold there. So there, oops, get that glue up. Okay, right, looking good. So we can then take our folio and we can just have one here and then the other one. So it doesn't really matter probably whether we have the small and then the big, or the big and then the small. I think aesthetically wise it looks better to have the small one first, so I'm just going to put that one down first. Okay, so again, lots of glue on there, and then just pop that there. Okay, just going to press that down here. You always want to open your piece out and make sure you've not got, you know, glue in your fold, if you see what I mean, because all you're going to end up doing is actually gluing your piece folded down. And again, this is just, you know, lessons I've learned over and over again, often still to this day do not remember and end up gluing my things closed. So yeah, patience is best. If you can kind of afford to wait for like 5 minutes leaving this open, that's going to eliminate, you know, the risk significantly. I unfortunately do not operate patience and end up doing that all the time. Very annoying. Okay, next one. So glue here. I mean, probably the key is don't go really into the fold, because obviously then you've got slightly less danger of, when you press it down, you know, the glue spreading into the fold. So there we go. Oops. Yeah, I mean, I really hope that you guys feel inspired by this, and maybe if you haven't tried a folio, you know, maybe kind of dig out your envelopes and things and maybe give one a go, because honestly, you know, I'd forgotten how much I loved making these. I mean, I went through quite a phase where actually I really preferred making these to journals, and you know, I kind of made these over and over without making any journals for, you know, for a few months. I think certainly in my mind, you know, it was a few months, maybe it wasn't really, but yeah, I seem to recall doing that for a little while because I found them so enjoyable to make. So yeah, I would really recommend, you know, giving them a go, because hopefully you guys also will really, really love making them. So I'm going to glue that down like that. So all I'm going to do is exactly as we've done on the other side, or on the other envelopes, is just glue this down. Oops, here, like that. Okay, so plenty of glue, because obviously this is sticking now to what, you know, what will essentially be the outside of the folio, you know, like the cover, if you like. So yeah, okay, fold that over, press that in, really squish that down into your, I like to just use a dry baby wipe. Okay. Oh, we've had really nice weather this week. So yeah, every day, you know, when my daughters come home from school, I've finished work and I have gone and sat out in the garden. I mean, actually, to be fair, you know, probably no more than like an hour or so each day, but it's been very, very hot. So yeah, I've been having a lovely time in the hot weather. Well, I forgot then, and I thought it was here, but actually it goes all the way down to that section there. So I'll just spread the glue right out there. Okay, so again, don't worry, it's looking very messy, you know, lots of glue marks and things, but they will all be covered up. So, you know, it will all be fine in the end, hopefully. I always have to add the hopefully, because, you know. So that is that part. Now we're going to move on to here. So I will probably, I think, sorry, just pressing this down because I felt like, oh, I could feel some glue like easing out, and thought, well, that's clearly not glued down very well because it's still very wet glue. So I'll just press that a bit more. So then what I quite like to do is have pockets here. Now, just wondering whether I want them actually going from the centre, because I could then have, again, more reinforcement from the spine. What you could do is obviously have, you know, have an envelope open there and then form some pockets. I'm just having a look to sort of see what's going to work best here. So what I could do is have here like that. You know, if those envelopes were, say, you know, let's say joined to each other like that. Oh my goodness. Again, a bit of a sort of operation going on here. If they were joined together like that, for example, they could then go across that spine, which would sort of reinforce it more. And there'd be pockets. Oh, I'm not sure I like it that much like that. I mean, ordinarily what I would do is just probably glue these flaps down and then pop these down as kind of pockets here. So, you know, you'd have one there. If I would glue them down, because obviously they're, you know, self-adhesive, but I just don't trust that self-adhesive to, you know, stay stuck down sort of long term. So I like to always add a bit of glue extra. Get my wipe. So like that. And then this one, oh, now look, what was I saying? Oh, don't trust it. Now look, I can't actually unpeel it. But I mean, this isn't long term, is it? That's just short term. Right, so again, just glue it down so it's, you know, firmly closed, you know, hopefully for the longest time. There we go. Right. And, you know, if you're thinking, oh gosh, they look rubbish, obviously we're going to cover these with decorative papers. So, I mean, hopefully they're not going to, you know, stay looking rubbish. So you could either have them here, like that, or we could have, I mean, maybe that's too big a pocket. I don't know. I've also got obviously some more envelopes here, so we could create like another couple of flaps here. You don't have to only use envelopes for flaps, so I will probably add a couple of other flaps too. So, or what you could do if you didn't want to use envelopes as your pieces, you know, your pockets, you could take, for example, this, which has been printed on, again, that 250 GSM photo paper. You could just use this as your pockets, because this is, you know, this is nice and thick quality card as well. So, you know, you don't have to use the envelopes. That's just kind of like something I tend to do, is use envelopes. But to be honest, you know, you might prefer to just use something like this. That would work perfectly well too. I can't decide. Right, let me just kind of build this up like in a mock style, so that I can just picture where we're going with this, because I don't want to kind of like make the wrong choices and then think, oh, you know, I don't like how it looks. Or I might prefer it like this, because actually I wasn't loving this here and this here. It looked weird to the eye. So I might prefer to have it like this, and maybe here have that, and then maybe, I mean, I don't know what this would look like, whether that would be, you know, too much the same, having like a flap the same size as the underneath pocket. That might be a bit strange, mightn't it? So perhaps what we could do is have another one of these. Oops. Oh, thank goodness. Come on. Maybe like that. Or maybe have this envelope tucked in here. Yeah, I quite like that, except we've got a lot going on here. Maybe we could do with a bit more over here. So maybe have this one here. Like that. Now, do we want anything else going on in the middle, I'm wondering? Because we could have that, I guess, glued down. Oops. Glued down there. So if I do this, what I would probably then do is just put another section of decorative paper over the whole thing, which is why it's quite good to, instead of gluing all this down, find out where you want all your pieces going. Because if I've glued this down, for example, and then I think, oh, I'm going to put this envelope here on the fold line, I would struggle then to cover this section here with the decorative paper, because obviously this is already glued down. Whereas if this isn't glued down, I just move it obviously out of the way, and then I can glue this down and then just stick another layer of decorative paper down. So it's kind of easier to do. My only reservation with putting this here is because obviously I would like to put a strip of lace down the middle, again for further reinforcement of that fold. If I put this down, that's going to be tricky to do. So, you know, you've got to kind of really take into account all these things and think, you know, what's going to kind of compromise this the most, what, you know, what's going to work best, what's going to be, you know, easiest as a usability, from a usability point of view. Do I even need to reinforce that with further lace? Because to be honest, I can reinforce it with lace on the back. So it might be that actually I don't really need to reinforce that with lace. Or you could reinforce it with lace first. That's another kind of option. I mean, I'm not loving that, because that's in line with that envelope actually, which again wasn't really apparent until now, and I just suddenly spotted it and thought, oh, then they'd be like, you know, don't like that. That's a weird look, isn't it? Unless we have it like that, or unless we have it, so again, just, you know, more experimenting with what's going to look best. Could have it this way round with this one. Whoops. This one here in the middle. Yeah, I quite like that. Now, the other thing that I did have was I also had this square envelope, which, to be honest, we could have this as like a folding flap from the bottom, or maybe in the middle. For some reason, I quite often like to have the the middle with a, you know, flap coming down. So let's just try that. Okay, but then have we got a lot of flaps going on here, but not here, in which case does this look better over here? Okay, I quite like that. So this way I've still got this that I can put some lace, which I, you know, I like doing that. I've got this one here, so yep, at a good drop down. This one here as a pocket, we'll probably put some sort of foldy piece as a little flap as well, maybe a pocket on there. You know, again, we will build this up. Once we've done this whole foundation and got it right, we'll build the rest up, you know, as we fancy. So I'm going to quickly line these two envelopes. Let's do all the boring bits first. So again, I've just got some of this left from where we lined the other one. So I'll just take this down. Okay. Like okie dokie, and then we'll just fold that over. Okay. I mean, like I said, this isn't essential. I know I've probably said this like 10 times now in this video, but I didn't used to line the envelopes, and to be honest, partly because I found it very fiddly lining them. Touch wood, I mean, I do still find it a bit fiddly, but I have improved over the years. I've got a little bit better at doing it. I don't find it quite so off-putting or, you know, intimidating as I used to. So, you know, there's that point of view. So stick with it if you're like me and think, oh my goodness, that's really fiddly. It does kind of get better. But also, yeah, it's the type of thing that I haven't done sometimes, and then I've wished afterwards that I had, just because I feel like, oh, that envelope's a little bit on the thin side. You know, it might not, you know, take to being folded out over and over and over again. You know, so it's just one of those things that, like I said, personal choice really, but it is a step that, you know, if you can kind of like tolerate it, if you can, you know, cope with doing it and you don't find it too cumbersome or too fiddly, I think it is worth it, because I just think it will give you the confidence that your piece is going to be a lot stronger for a lot longer. So, you know, right, there we go. Okay, and then again, just check that you haven't compromised the fold. Like that. Okay. Right, so that one was going to stick onto this on the side. So I'll just quickly line this. Again, I'll just use this that we've got remaining. Oh, I love it when I can use up the paper, you know, and sort of not have too much waste. Because, you know, if I have a big piece, obviously I want to then hoard it. I don't want to kind of waste it. And then you end up with loads of little bits, don't you? And that's how, of course, we're all inundated with scraps. Okay. Oh, no. Let me just cut this down. See what I mean? This is now suddenly where it all gets very fiddly. There we go. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully by the end of this video today, we will have done the whole of the skeleton for this, and then, you know, I can come back and we'll do more of this together, you know, in terms of decorating and adding some other bits and pieces, and then depending on how we get on, we will come back and we'll do some you know, filling it and stuffing it with some bits and pieces in the pockets. So yeah, fingers crossed we will do quite a bit of it together, even if not all of it. And I know I say this a lot as well, but, you know, it's just, I do appreciate that lots of people do like to see the whole process. The problem is a lot of people don't like to see the whole process. And the way that, you know, YouTube and things work is they obviously do this thing with the, what they call the algorithm. And then, you know, if not many people are watching the videos, they don't recommend your videos, because they then deem it as, oh, you know, this isn't of interest to people. And so then, you know, you're not then getting other videos seen that maybe other people, you know, might like to see. So it's kind of one of those tough calls between, you know, the people who would like to see the whole thing and then boring everybody else who doesn't want to see the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, personally, I'm someone who I do quite like seeing the whole thing. You know, particularly like, say, the lining of the envelopes. It's one of those types of things that, you know, if you don't see it, I always find myself thinking, oh, I wonder how she did that, you know. And it might be the simplest thing, but I kind of think, oh, I wonder if she's got any tips, or, you know, I wonder if she struggles to get them, you know, the paper slotted in or whatever. And I like to see the whole thing, but, you know, I realise not everybody does. So we're going to just pop this here. Like that, okay. And it's interesting and nice to have, like, a flap going in a completely different direction, isn't it? So having a little flap hanging at the bottom, you know, folding down, it's just adding to the interest of, you know, the operationable aspect of your folio. Operationable? I don't know. That didn't really sound like it made sense even to my own ears, but yeah, the operation, or, you know, the mechanism of your folio. So that's that. So then what we've got is obviously this here, we're going to obviously put onto there. So I'm going to just quickly line my envelopes. So again, just, you know, is that going to fit on there? Of course it isn't, because that's not A4, is it? So what you could do is just have it with a little gap around. I think that's quite pretty, to be honest, to have the gap. I'm not saying it's everybody's kind of cup of tea, but yeah, I mean, I actually think that's quite nice. I might use a slightly contrasting paper, so as we've got a bit of a different look. So which way? Oh, I'm not sure. I want to have it that side. Yeah, I might have it this way. So I'm just going to take that there. So again, obviously trying to have now a little space around the whole of the edge. Okey-dokey. Oops. There we go. Oop. Oh, I did not do that very well, did I? I thought, oh, I'll just have a little space around everywhere. Nope. Big space at the top and the bottom, and hardly any space around the edges. There we go, that's better, isn't it? So, yeah. Now, what I might do is, just before I glue that on, I'm going to coffee dye around the edge of my envelope. So hold on a second. Okay, so I always keep a little bit of you know, just black coffee kind of behind the desk. So I'm just going to, let's move this out of the way. Oops. So I'm going to do it on both of them, because they're probably both going to end up, you know, being the same, where we're going to just have the edges shown. So just go around the edge with your coffee dye like that. Oops. Like that. Okay, don't need to obviously do the inside, you know, the center section, because of course that's going to be covered with the decorative paper. Just quickly get my heat tool and, oh, just dry that coffee off. Oh my goodness, on the floor. Right, just dry that coffee off. Okey-dokey. I mean, it wouldn't hurt if it was still white, to be honest, but I think it does look nicer if it's coffee dyed. So, you know, if at all possible, coffee dye where you can. Obviously, I haven't coffee dyed that white envelope that's stuck onto the folio now. I don't know whether things will show on there or not, you know, whether any white will show on there. Again, if it does, I might just very quickly go around the edges of that with the coffee dye as well. So as you can see, I mean, it doesn't take 2 seconds. You know, it's just kind of quite handy to keep some just there behind the desk ready to use if and when you need it, really. So like that. Okay. Could iron it now. I don't know whether it really needs it. I mean, probably would be a good measure, or a good, you know, good step to do. But yeah, I might not actually iron it. I don't mind it being a little bit crumpled, to be honest. I think that sort of adds to the, you know, the authenticness of it. So there we go. I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it does look, you know, it does look different, doesn't it? It does have, you know, a bit of a difference. So again, just obviously glue our paper around. And on the edges, and then all through the middle, like that. Okay. Get that down. Oops. Like that. Right, get my glue spreader, get my other wipe. Right. Obviously, if you've got glue coming off, just, you know, sort of going around the edge of your envelope, you can then just obviously wipe it off with your wipe. So like that. Okay. Yep. That looks good, doesn't it? So and what I will probably do is actually not coffee dye, distress ink the entire folio all at one point, if you see what I mean. So when it's all kind of put together, I will go over with the distress ink for the whole thing. So just quickly glue this on here. Like that. Oh, I'm having such a lot of fun. I really hope that you guys are having fun if you are making one of these. You know, like I say, it's just sometimes overcoming your fears, isn't it? And I don't know about you guys, I just get these irrational fears, you know, like, and especially if I haven't done something for a while, I start thinking, oh gosh, you know, and it's exactly the same if I haven't filmed for, like, you know, if I go on holiday ever or anything like that. When I come back, I feel so nervous. And actually, I mean, it can even happen if I don't film for, like, say 3 or 4 days because I'm, you know, busy doing other things, or, you know, if it's been like a bank holiday weekend or something like that. I can still feel fear then, which, I mean, it's kind of crazy, irrational type thinking, isn't it? I don't know really why we get these, you know, hang-ups and things, but yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only person. But anyway, so that's going to be my pocket there, and then we're going to do obviously a pocket on this side as well. So do we want to marry it up and have kind of similar paper? I think that might be quite nice for the sort of continuity. So again, just take that paper down. I can see already that this paper's too wide, how I folded it. So I'm just going to, let's cut in slightly. And I mean, if it's not quite straight, I don't think it really matters, because I will probably put some lace or something on that edge of that pocket anyway. So, you know, I don't think that's a huge, you know, huge problem. So I'm just going to quickly, again, exactly as we did with the other one, glue this down. Glue this down. Forgot what I was doing then. So, yeah, glue. Like that. Okie dokie. Oops. There we go. And again, just spread your glue out. So like that. Okay. Right. Okay, so glue all down on this one. So now it's to kind of finish our skeleton of the folio. So we're going to just pop this down on here, on this side. So take my glue. I just want to glue it down on 3 sides. So there, straight along the bottom. And there, okay. Like that. Oops, I tried to put that further down, you know, down here, and then I suddenly thought, oh, actually this isn't the full height of the folio, so then I thought, oh, I'd best quickly move it up. Oops. Moved it over slightly that time. Not very good at gluing today. Okay, again, just really kind of make sure that's pressed down. The good thing is with this 3-in-1 glue, or the Fabri-Tac, you can kind of like rub it and it rubs off. You have to be a bit careful, obviously, if you're using printed papers, because you can end up rubbing the print off of the paper. But yeah, on the whole, it's quite good for wiping off. So yeah, if you're a bit of a messy crafter like I am, you can get rid of the glue reasonably easily. Right, there we go. So love that. And then here we're going to have exactly the same. So again, just, oops, oh, that was a bit soggy, look, from the coffee dyeing. Right, again, just on 3 sides, like that. Okay, right, hopefully this has like reignited my love of folios. I think probably what I'll have to do is do another one quite soon, before that kind of lack of confidence and all that sets back in. So yeah, we might have to come back and do another one pretty quickly after we finish this. There we go. And just really pressing that down. Don't want your pieces peeling up at all. Like that. There we go. Right. Just really press that down. Okay. So that is our whole skeleton of our folio using the Junk Journal Basics Kit 2. So we've got quite a few flaps and things going on, quite a bit of interest, and yeah, I mean, hopefully we're going to kind of obviously build from this, or build on this, and, you know, produce a really scrumptious, lovely, you know, folio with lots of flaps and interest and lots of, you know, pockets and things like that. So yeah, I really hope that you like it. You know, I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Like I say, you know, I hope you love the kit and things, and yeah, hope that you have fun if you feel inspired to make anything similar. And I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a big thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks then. Bye.